Hi there, hope you're all doing well. For this week, I get another of these Zombicide White Death heroes painted up. This time around it is Yasuke from the Plant Core box. He was primed in black and I get started with a bisque blue and a base coat of all of the jacket type of thing. I'm not sure if there's a proper name for this, but I have no idea what that is, so it's a jacket type thing to me. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below. You can also join Discord, use the link in the description, where you can share anything you have been hobbying on, or just hang out and chat. I hope you enjoy the video and find it useful. I want the shadow color to be darker than the Abyss Blue came out, so I gave the area a wash with Tempest Blue wash. I would have just started with a darker color, but I couldn't find one I really liked on my shelf, so this method will do. After waiting for the wash to dry, I went back in with Abyss Blue again, but this time just as the mid-tone. So I cover the majority again, I just leave that darker tone in the recesses and the deeper shadows. Because this colour isn't too much brighter than this, I don't aim for full coverage. Instead, I let some of that darker tone come through in order to add a bit more texture into it. I want to push out the tops of the folds a little bit more, bringing in some more texture at the same time. To do this, I went around with a scratchy highlight of Abyss Blue and Witching Hour Blue. Moving on to the next step of the clothing, this is all the padded under armor, which starts off with a base coat of Dread Red for the darker shadow color. With all of the base coating finished and dry, I move on to the mid-tone using Boar hide. This goes over a fair bit again, but on the padding I keep the deeper recesses between the pads darker, angling most of that mid-tone towards the top of the raised parts. Finishing off the padding, I went around the upper parts in direct light from above with Evil Eye Red. This has a bit more of an orange tint to it, so it works perfectly as a base coat for the orange parts, which I also do at this step as well. Now that I have base coated the orange parts, I figured I might as well finish them off at this point with orange flare highlight. I could have pushed this a little bit further, but this actually covered better than I thought it would, so it stayed fairly bright at this step. For the last parts of fabric, they have an off-white look to them. To get the shadow colour in, I went around and base coated them with Dusty Skull, which is already fairly bright, but it still gives some room for highlights afterwards. That highlight is then done using Off-White across a good chunk again. I'm going to be using a wash on these parts so I can make the highlights a little bit bigger and overall to make them a bit brighter in the end. To get the remaining non-metallic parts base coated, I used the same shadow colour of Burnt Umber across them all. At this step, I was a little bit worried about having the skin and the hair share the same shadow colour, but seeing how it turns out in the end, it's not that bad. To add some variation between the hair and the skin, I used pure charred brown, bring up all of the raised parts of the hair, giving it a bit more of a reddish tint overall. That is the hair finished up, so I can move on to adding the highlights on the leather and the skin parts now. These are done using charred brown, desaturated with some ancient forest. The first pass of this mix didn't brighten everything up as much as I planned, so I went back in with a second mix, adding in some more ancient forest. Since this is a highlight step, I kept that darker mix around the edges and just built up a bit of a gradient, making it way up towards the brighter heights. After going around with a couple of passes of this mix, I used pure ancient forest just to touch up the sharper edges and finish off the highlighting on these parts. It's now time for the metallics, starting off with blue steel across all of the armor plates and the blades. This is the bluest metallic I have without going into a deep dark blue, which wouldn't match the artwork at all. Instead, I will tint this a bit one later on with some washes. With all of the silver now done, I get a few gold parts done using greedy gold. This is the old war paint, so it doesn't actually cover well at all, especially since I don't use it that often. So with that, it does take a little while to get all of these parts done and a couple of coats to actually get some coverage on that trim. Now I will let the silver dry, I can get all of the ropes holding the plates together done using Dread Red. I could have done this earlier when I used Dread Red on the actual fabric, but I would then have to futz around on these parts and just paint the silver around it. This way just seems like a quicker option. To darken down the red, white and skin parts, I gave them a thin down wash of soft tone. I thinned this down a fair bit. I don't really want any staining on this, I just want some depth into those recesses. Finishing off the mini, I washed all of the steel with Tempest blue wash, thinned down just a little so everything stays nice and bright. And that will be it for Yasuke. I do like how the skin came out in the end. With the hair being so close to that colour, I wasn't too sure if it would actually work. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below. You could also join Discord using the link in the description, where you can share anything you have been hobbying on, or just hang out and chat. For those of you who want to pick up some painting supplies or just some new minis, there are some affiliate links in the description below. I hope you enjoyed the video and found it useful. If you did, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe for more content. Most importantly though, be kind to each other.